Hey everybody, I'm going to be working on a project today, and I'm going to make a walking stick, and it's going to be a memory for my mom and dad. They've passed away a few years ago. My mom in 2003 and my dad in 2016, and what I got is an oak stick. I got it from Menards. I can't remember what I paid for it. I've had it for at least 6 months, figuring out what I'm going to do with it, but or how I'm going to design it. And it's 6 foot long, and I think it's, let me see here, 1 5/16 inch thick. I wanted a little bit rounder, but this is a nice size. And I also made a stick for my mom a few years ago, and I didn't like how it turned out, so I'm going to make this one for both of them, like a memorial stick. And I downloaded some patterns of like Celtic braids and just different stuff I was thinking about putting on here, and I found the one that I needed, and I'm gonna have I'm gonna put it on around, and I got a bunch of them printed out here, and I had to have the exact size for when I put it on here. I'm gonna put some carbon paper underneath it, and then I want them to join together on the other side, so it's all the way around. What I'm gonna have to do is do the layout. I'm gonna put the handle and put their names, and then I'm gonna start the braid all the way down to here. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and it's gonna be a step-by-step progression through this video on how to do it and what I'm doing. So here we go. Well, I have the handle all laid out. I have the top on it. This is where the top part is, and your handle's gonna be here. And I've got my thing I printed out, and I got the carbon paper behind it. So now I'm just going to take a pencil and color in all of where the letters are and the numbers. And then when I take that off, it'll be transferred onto the stick. Then I know what to carve out. All right, now that I got it all finished, I can take it off and we'll see what we got. It took about a half an hour. There you go. So now what I want to do with this is I don't want this to wear off as I'm working on the stick. So I'm going to wrap this in saran wrap, and then I'm going to tape it too. If you just put tape over it, it'll take this off and you won't be able to see it as well. So the saran wrap and then the tape, it'll work really well. Alright, I wanted to show you something before I get too far. I took all the pieces of paper and I cut them and I taped them together. I joined them together. So now, when I put it on a stick, I'll have the carbon paper behind it, and I'll do the same thing I did with the letters. But as they wrap around, I want them to like join together, you know. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way of cutting these off and making one piece and wrapping it around where it joins together on both sides even. That's going to be a tough part. Well, I had to go print out all new pieces because the other ones were too small, and when I wrap these around, they're supposed to connect on this side, on the other side of the thing to connect the braid, and the other one was too small. Fortunately, I had enough ink in my printer to print these all out, and now I got to connect them all together and put the carbon paper behind them, wrap it around the stick, tape it on, and then trace it all on there. Well, here we go. It looks like a mess actually, but I got it as close as I can get it, and I think it's going to turn out really well. And now all I have to do is take a pencil and go down and trace all of these out all the way down. Hey everyone, I got it all row drawn on here and everything, and I got the tip put on the bottom, and I used a cutter blade. It's like a little disc on the end. I cut around it, and then I just cut it back with a spiral blade just to fit that little tip on there. I mean, it was really easy, and then I sanded it a little bit smooth, and it fits right on there. I might have to go a little bit deeper because it's like a little cushion of air. It's like it doesn't go down far enough. Anyways, like I said, I got it all drawn on here. I don't know if you can see that pattern, but that's what I have to carve out. And I got the handle carved too, and I went in with that cutter blade and I just slowly did that. And then I got my mom's and dad's thing, birth and death date on there, and I started on it yesterday. I probably got about 4 hours and everything from printing out the papers and everything, and writing and drawing, about 4 hours. And I'm going to show you how I would carve on this and stuff like that. But first, I'm going to tell you, I had a message on my YouTube channel from Tommy Clay and his wife. They found this channel. They remembered me from my walking stick channel that I used to make these, and they said they learned a lot from my channels. And I'm like, that's great. You know, if I can teach somebody how to do something better, and you know, that's fantastic if they learn anything from me. But they make walking sticks too, and they give them away to people and everything. But me, I explained, I wanted to know why I got rid of my channel. I was like, well, I just got out of it, and I just never really wanted to work on one. And I bought this at Menards for about, oh God, 6 months ago, and I never really worked on it. Hopefully get bit by the bug again. And I've been thinking about doing one for my mom and dad. I have one for my mom, I said before, and I'm going to put my dad's on here. So good luck with them making walking sticks. That's awesome. You know, if you can do stuff and give it away, that's fine. You know, I just don't think my walking sticks are good enough to sell. So that's why I gave most of mine away too. So I'm glad to hear that, Tommy. You know, you keep on plugging away. You and your wife keep on plugging away with them dang things, and you'll get better at it and everything. You'll learn different bits and different techniques, and you'll teach other people how to do the stuff and carry it on. So let's get on with this and zoom in a little bit, because that's kind of far away. I'm going to carve it out. What I'm going to use is, you can see this bit. It's a little round bit, and I think it's an 005. They're hard to find. They make them now with the thicker shaft on them. I don't like the thicker shaft. I like the thinner shaft. But anyway, I always say this: just always take your time, go slow, and you'll get the hang of it. Right in the middle, really slow. You'll see what you want, and then out. Alright, I got it all carved out around all the letters and stuff, and it kind of looks, like I said before, they need cleaned up around there, but I'm going to go around this first and give it texture like that. And I'm using, it's a square bit, and it gets it really quick. It chews it out. I think it's because it's square, it's easy to get. So I'll get on with that. It's fairly easy to do. Just, take your time and then work down to here, to this area, and then turn the stick over and then work this way, from the top down. I feel it's easier because you don't want it to come through and then hit one of these things and put a big gouge in them. So this is what I'm going to be doing for this will probably take about 45 minutes maybe, I don't know. Take your time. Well, here we go. I picked up this little crystal cross at Hobby Lobby. My wife picked it out, and I got the names. I noticed you really can't see them. They're smooth, but I'm going to do something with that to make them stand out really well. But I went around everything, and I tried to make it as good as I can. I wish I would have made the letters bigger. They would have been easier for me. So on to the next step, and that is to start carving out the braid. So we'll get on with that. Well, I'm going to start on carving out the braid, and what I'm using is this little cutter disc. It's the same disc I used to cut this the handle down a little bit on the insides, and the tip. To put the tip on, I go around, and then I make a nice straight cut. and then I put the tip on there, and after I ground it down and sanded it. So I'm going to use this for right in here, because this part needs to be higher and this part needs to be lower for the braid to go down. You get the point. So I'm going to work on this. Probably this is going to take a long time, so I'm going to give you a little bit of an example of what I'm talking about. You just have to be careful which one. You don't want to carve the wrong one. And then these have to be deep too, these little triangle things, and I'm gonna have an idea for that. But for now, I'm gonna put this down a little deeper. Deep I'm going. I'm just eyeballing it right now. I might have to go back and do it again. We'll see. Well, here I am, 3 hours and 15 minutes to carve it all out, and this is what it looks like all the way down. As I was carving, when you're using that disc bit, don't go away from you because it'll run and it'll go over whatever you don't want to carve. Pull it towards you slowly. But when I was carving it, I started up here and I kept going. The farther I kept going, I kept getting deeper and deeper. So I went back to where I wanted it. Then I went back and I had to actually carve these out a little bit to match these down here. And as I was inspecting it, I totally missed one whole line. How did I do that for 3 hours and 15 minutes? So now what I want to do is work on these little diamonds. That's the areas I'm going to have to carve out of them. And maybe, you know, grind this up a little bit more so this fits on. It's not all the way down, seated down at the bottom of this. So I'm going to start carving those out now. There you go. There's number one. Well, what I decided to do was use my spiral cutting bit, and instead of carving these out, I was afraid when I sanded, by using the bigger sanding drum, it was going to hit that, and then I had to go back over it again. So I just wanted to use it to sand it. I started sanding, and I was like, that's going to take a long time. It'll take more stuff out with this bit. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going up the entire stick on one side, then I'll turn it over to the other side. But it takes more out a lot better. But it was just grab of this first part right here. And then after this, I'll go back with a sanding drum. It's kind of hard to find a 1/4-inch sanding drum. Well, I used that spiral bit, and this is all everything I got. It went really quick. It only took about a half an hour. And I don't know if I missed any. I probably will find it, but now I'm going to go back with the sanding drum and sand them at the right angle. I only used a spiral bit because it took out a lot more faster than a sander. So now I'll go back with the sanding drum and sand them down and make it look a lot more, more smooth. And then I will work on the middle little diamonds and carve it in around. Well, real quick, here's what I got. I ground them all down in between, all the way down, and that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I think it was like an hour and a half. Now what I want to do before I carve these down, I know sometimes I will say something and then I'll go back and not do that, but this is the first time. I mean, all the walking sticks I've done, I've never made them. I never made them before, so it's a learning experience as you go. You think that's a good idea, but then again you turn around and start thinking a little bit more, and then no, you can't do it like that, because then you have to do this step first. But because I thought I was going to drill these out, no, the drill bit would either leave an indent too deep. Then I tried another wood drill bit, and like I said before, So I'm gonna hand sand this because I'm afraid if I texture each one of these holes here and then I hand sand it, I'll have to go back and texture it again. So I'm gonna hand sand everything, but I'm gonna put a pair of gloves on because I notice when I sand, as I'm doing it, as I'm holding onto the stick, it changes, like the oils from my hand change the color of the wood and everything. So I don't like that. So I'm gonna wear some gloves while I hand sand everything, and this is gonna take a good long time. And then I'll go back and texture inside with the little bit, and then I'll put the stick number and my name on the bottom. I'm going to try a new way for that, and then I have a topper I want to put on here that I made in a previous video. I made something, and then I'll wrap it. But as for now, just start hand sanding. All right, everybody, I'm finished sanding. I went from 60 to 100 to 150. I don't think I need to go any higher. When I got the whole thing down, it's not perfect, but it's all right. Now, what I'm going to explain is what I'm using, and just in case people don't know, this is a square bit. It's I can't remember what the number is, and this is a flex shaft. You can really pick this up for like 30 bucks, and it connects to the Dremel. And I'm using a Dremel 300 now. I guess they renamed them as a Dremel 3000, but I have a Dremel 3000, and I did a review on it, and it's the same thing as a Dremel 300. It's just the case that encloses everything is just the same. It's a little bit different than with Dremel 300 from years ago. My Dremel I've been using for at least 10 years now. Every once in a while you want to change the brushes. Okay, now onto this. I have my square bit. Now I want to go down and texture everything like I did up here to match it. I want it to go deeper. See, because the reason I sanded this, because if I would have sanded it, if I would have engraved this, I would have hit it with this thing and I would have had to go back and carve it out again. So I'll just go in and carve it all out. Just wiggle it all around in there. And just be careful when you come up to these parts here. You want to hit and just keep blowing it off, see what you get. It might be dull. I might need a new one. It can go pretty far, but so now what I want to do is I made this ball out of a silver pitcher I got at a thrift store. And that's in a different video. I'll show you how to do that, but I want to put it on top of this. But for now, I'm going to have to carve that out, and then I have this screw, and I'm going to screw down in there, and I'm going to drill this out and screw this up into there so it holds. So let's get on to that. As I'm carving it out, I'll take the ball and I'll set it down in there and see how far I got to go. But I'm going to take a sanding drum to get it out all the way out around the edges, but just to get it as deep as I think I need it. And then I just keep setting it in there and see if I'm good. Now after I sanded and ground all that out and I drilled it out, I kept drilling it out bigger and bigger. I'm going to put this in there, like I said before. I wanted to make it bigger because it's not perfectly centered. So in order to get it perfectly centered or in there in the middle, I drilled that out, then I drilled this out where I want it, and then I'm just going to use some epoxy or JB Weld and set and glue that sucker in there and leave it set, and I think we'll be good with that. So let's get on to that. And holy cow, I made a mess with that stuff, the JB Weld. Now I'm going to have to sand it. I didn't want to use hot glue or silicone or anything because this silver ball is pretty darn heavy, and I figured that sucker better stay in it. It will stay in there now. So next thing I want to do is sand all this off and then put the gold leaf on the names. So now what I'm going to do is I taped everything up. I taped this because when I spray it, I don't want that to be covered with finish because that's what I glue the suede to, and I taped the ball too because I didn't want the finish to get on the ball. So I bought this at Hobby Lobby, and I think it was $7.99, and it's a gold leaf, and I'm going to apply it to these names. But they say in the instructions you have to put some kind of finish down first, and then use a brush to pick it up off there and place it into place. and put it in where you want it, and then you can just brush off whatever isn't stuck to, like where you put the finish, or where you put the glue. They want to you put some glue or there on all the raised parts, and then put the gold leaf on there and let it dry, and then you can go back and clean it up with like a stiff brush. You'll take it off from around the piece and it'll stay on there, so it'll be nice and shiny. And this stuff is very, very thin, so you got to be careful with it. And it has like pieces of paper in between each sheet too. This stuff will, yeah, I gotta turn the ceiling fan off because this stuff will blow away. This stuff will blow away if you have a fan or anything going on. Oh man, you can see how thin it is. Look. So that's what I'm gonna get to. I'm gonna do a couple letters first, and then put a piece on, and hopefully it stays. I'm going to use the glue that I'm going to use for the leather too. So I'm just going to put a little bit in here and dab it on my brush. I don't want it to go outside. I got too much on there. I can always sand off if it gets on any other part, you know, I guess. Or like take the Dremel and put a small bit on it, and I don't want that much on there. It doesn't need to be a lot. I've used a couple of different types of this stuff. I used a pen that had 18 karat or 24 karat, and I was like, oh, that worked really well, but it was not as shiny as this stuff is. It's really easy to do. I ain't gonna burnish this. I think I'm talking about the right word to use is burnish it, where you go over and you rub it on real hard. I ain't gonna do that. I'm just gonna tear a small piece off. They say use a brush. I ain't using a brush. I'll just, oop, it's sticking pretty good. I'll just push it on with my finger, and you can see it's sticking to my finger. Got a little bit of glue on there. And I'll just let me get this away. Get away. And just keep going with the letters and the numbers, and show you a little bit later on when I take it off after it dries. Okay, looks like it's dried on pretty good. Let me get my glasses here. I think you could take it off with this. I'm not sure. It looks like it's working pretty good. And if I need to go over it again, like in this spot right there, it didn't stick, I could probably put a little piece on there, and it'll be fine. This stuff floats around like crazy, so it's like glitter. But it looks pretty cool. And a little fact about gold: you can actually eat this, and it won't do you any harm. It passes through your system. That's why a lot of people put gold leaf on sundaes, and they say they're the most expensive sundae. It's a couple of dollars for it, and it doesn't make it very expensive. So this looks like it's pretty much done, except for I think I could probably go over it again just to be sure. A couple spots, like the one on here and M. And I'll probably go over it one more time with the glue, and then yeah, on the 0, and put another layer on it and brush it off, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, now I'm gonna stain it, and this is the stain I use for oaks. Anything oak, really. I like the color of that, and I'm going to brush it on and wipe it off. I don't want it to set on there too long. I don't know what it's going to do to the gold leaf. It might mess it up, and if it does, I'll have to redo that. What I should have did was stained it first, I guess, and then did the gold leaf, but I wasn't thinking. So, anyways, without further ado, get me a brush. Just, you can see it brings out the colors. Look at that. That looks fantastic. I love this stuff. It looks really good. I ain't gonna go crazy with it. I just want to give it a nice coating. Rub it off a little. There you go. Now, to do that all the way down the stick. Alright everybody, I'm going to show you the process of spraying this stick. I got it all taped up and I'm using Helmsman clear gloss. Get you going here. I got the tape at the bottom. Everything that I'm going to wrap that with the leather, and I got the ball. And you can control the spray on this. This is up and down. I'll twist it to go sideways. Make sure you take the can up really well. Just do easy coats. I might want to go up and down with this. That just covers too much area. Looks like a lot of overspray, a lot of spray not even hitting the stick. I always get the top part. I'm messing it up. Okay, here we go. That's better. It's probably going to take at least 10 coats. Cover it on all 4 sides. You can go back in about 2 minutes and recoat it because it should be dry. Alright everybody, I'm all done. I took all the wrap off of it too, so this is what it looks like. And it goes all the way down. And I took the little hook that I was hanging it out on, and I got the date and stuff in there. So now what I want to do is wrap this with, this is just, I bought this at Hobby Lobby for $10. That's a lot, that's 25 yards, and it's this thin, you know. And what I'll do is I'll take this little brad, and I got myself like a punch or a nail, I think it's a punch, and I'll put it through the one side and nail it in and just start twisting, and I'll show you that in a second. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I usually use a smaller hammer. I got like a little hobby hammer I usually use. Get it down so far, and then when you start using the punch to get it in there. Make sure it doesn't slide off because it'll hit and damage the finish. So just easy. It's actually, it's hard. Man. That'll hold. It ain't going anywhere. Now, what I want to use is this glue I'm going to use, and I'm going to paint it on so far up as I twist it. I'm going to twist it like this and keep it tight and just wrap it up around there. So let's get on with that. Alright, just put it on kind of thick, you know. It dries pretty much clear, so you ain't going to see it. And I could stain it a different color behind, so in between the wrapping you would see the same, pretty much the same color, but this is pretty close to the wood, and I made sure I had enough to wrap this. And then the only bad part is when you're wrapping it, your thumbs will hurt because you're twisting it and pulling it. And as you're going up the stick, when you're twisting this, naturally the rest of the thing is going to twist, and it's going to jumble up all down here, and you're going to have to stop and then untwist it and keep on going. This all in all probably take about a half an hour to do, I think. I just would like the glue to give me a little bit more working time, but that's alright. well, there you have it. It's all finished. I like that wrapping. It really gives you a good grip on it, and that's it. All the way down. I don't know how you can see that very well, but that's my walking stick. That's number, what did I put on here? Number 49? No. 48. Let me redo this. I gotta set this up. Battery. Oh. Well, here it is. There's the top. I made that, like I said before, from a water vase. It was a pitcher. It was a trophy, actually. I melted it down, and there's the serving, for the handle on my mom's and dad's, and then all the way down. And then I still have to put the tip on the bottom. Thanks for watching.